You are now tuned in to the Project 365 experience.
Now, we finally did it.
Yes, we did. Yes, we
We
did. How are you?
finally did it. We connected. Hey, before we start, I want to give you this platform to talk about how was it being my teammate in college?
Oh, it was a good experience, man. Honestly, you brought the joy in being a part of a team, and you honestly were a good leader. You instilled confidence in us when some of us didn't have it, and obviously for me, it was a lot different being a rookie and not necessarily playing. So, but you give me that sense of encouragement during practice. So honestly, I really enjoyed having you as a teammate.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, I was not expecting that. I appreciate it, Cory.
for sure, definitely.
Couldn't make a jump shot, but
We won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. But for the most part, yeah, man.
oh wow, no, this is crazy. So yes, Cory Connors, welcome to the podcast. Happy we can finally do this. So, like Cory said, Cory was a rookie when I played back in Vantage. So we were teammates. So, um, my, where do we start, man? Because now we both went into different direction, but we're using the same game, right?
Yes.
So I don't want to waste any time. I want to get directly into it.
Okay.
When you finished playing your last year, what was your mindset?
So how old was I? That's 2017. I was probably 21, 22 years old.
Mhm.
I said, you know what? I'm not playing no more. I was already reffing. I said, you know what? Let me shift my focus into reffing and see where that can bring me. And I don't think I've made a bad decision since.
Really good decision. Yes, because I think people don't talk enough about the time, like, so we grow up identifying as athletes for so long,
For sure.
right? So we sometimes get into situations now where, like, okay, being a part of being an athlete has been a part of our life for so long that when comes time to make that transition, athletes don't really understand how to go about it. Talk a little bit about, yes, okay, you were reffing while you were playing. Talk a little bit about that transition, right? So you started kind of like reffing, like, was it a shift where you started being like, okay, let me try to take this a little bit more serious, or was it you just had people who just supported you and told you, yo, you should think about this?
Kind of. I played with you in 2014, right? So I was repping from like 2008, 2009, like at Brookwood House League. So shout out to Brookwood. Yeah, and I guess during that time while I was playing, people like my older superiors were saying, "Hey, you seem to have a lot of potential, and maybe you should tap into it." And I never really took them seriously because it's like I didn't know, like I didn't know that I could have a chance to even go anywhere. You know what I mean? Being a black kid from West Island, Montreal, like it's just like didn't seem possible. But as time grew on and I was starting to maybe get a little bit better, it seemed more realistic. So I said, you know what? Let me shift my athlete player mindset and shift into a referee mindset. And I have to say the transition has been a pretty smooth because I'm still using the same mindset as a player. I'm just a referee. So, and a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of similarities between players and referees, having that next play mindset, that next man up mindset. So when the next opportunity comes, you got to be ready for it, whether it might be now, later, or after. Just always being ready. So never being surprised by anything, recognizing plays, recognizing defense, players' tendencies. It's all the same things that we are taught from coaches as players to look out for, be aware for. So we need to have the same level of IQ as players do for us to be able to officiate at those levels, right? So I think it's to have those qualities.
So, like, you're saying something that's like, it's taking me back because I remember when, like, a lot of times people see things in us that we don't see ourselves.
1000%.
So you saying that just like, people that were older, like, yo, you have a knife for it. Yo, it's crazy because I remember I was such a knucklehead back then. I remember, like,
Still are. Who said you weren't?
yeah, that's true. But what's crazy about it is, like, they told me, yo, go coach. You know me, I'm a player. I'm like, damn, I ain't trying to be a player. I ain't trying to be a coach. Sorry. Like, yo, I'm a player. I'm a hooper, you know? So then you try all these things, and all that stuff. But, I want to use this episode to really break down what it is. A lot of times, like it's coaches that'll coach their players, and then it's another coach that will coach against other players. But for some reason, there's this stigma that the referee is there to mess up the game.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So talk a little bit about that. Like, what's the approach? Like, because I think the number one thing I want to get people to understand is like a referee doesn't wake up a morning and be like, yo, I can't wait to make this team lose.
I know, right? Just being mentally prepared. Like, obviously some coaches are more animated than others, and some coaches feel like they need to get out to get you to help their team win, which is totally understandable. Like, I understand the nature of it. Coaches are going to do anything to help their team win. So whether it's to blame someone else or to point fingers at a certain direction, it's most likely going to be towards the referee, and that's understandable. So us as officials, we have to have that active mindset to know that, okay, coaches sometimes might feel this way. So this is where it's important to have that player-coach communication skills and let them know that we're here to better serve the game. We're not here to jeopardize the game. Because like you said, I don't know any referees in my book that wake up saying, yeah, I'm going to mess up this mini bad game. Like, no one's thinking like that. Like, personally, I don't care who wins. I come here to have the best game possible. I'm looking for a high competitive level game, and I just want the best level that you can ask for. So with them playing at the highest level they can play at, it puts my game at a better standpoint, So, and I think coaches eventually over time, seeing your face, seeing that you're actually taking it serious, they gain a little bit of respect and a little bit of credibility and trust. And we don't want to do that as officials, Every game you start off with 100% of credibility, and it just takes one thing or one call to lose that sense of credibility. So for us, it's important that we withhold that or try and maintain that throughout the game. So it's having that mental preparation and just being aware that we have the coach's credibility and we don't want to lose it.
Yeah. Okay. So when you come into a game, right? How this is like, let's educate people. So how early are you assigned the game? And like, do you come into the game knowing that, okay, I'm reffing this game? Like, how early are you able to kind of like mentally prepare into that?
It depends. Sometimes you get a call up last minute saying, hey, we need someone to do this game, and you go out and do the game, and you might not be necessarily prepared, but you're prepared to do referee a game, right? Sometimes we get our schedule out in like months in advance. So like we'll set our schedule for the season, and then we'll get games throughout each month assignments. So sometimes I'll know I'll have a game in a couple weeks. So I'll be mentally preparing myself, visualizing myself being in that game, going through the motions, practicing my mechanics, going over rules. It's a lot of, like, I know a lot of people look and say, oh, you could just show up to a game and go ref, but there's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors that allow us to be able to ref the game. We got to be physically in shape. We got to know our rules. We got to have mental preparation. We have to have good communication with our partners. We have to set up criteria early on in the game. There's so much philosophy that goes behind it. That's why I enjoy it. It's a beautiful art that not a lot of people get to witness or realize or understand, and it takes time. I didn't understand it until like maybe last year that art of reffing, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It brings, no matter how much chaos is going on in the game, I still try to find a level of joy in that chaos, and just, I feel like I'm at my best. I feel like I'm my complete self when I'm reffing, so
talk a bit about the education that goes into it. You talked a bit about physical, like how, like for me to be able to for me to be able to ref, is it ref, officiate? We were talking about this a little bit.
You could call it ref, officiate. Those are the normal terms. Like,
okay. So if I'm to ref at a high level, what kind of either mental preparation, physical preparation, emotional preparation I have to go through?
Well, okay.
Because that's different. Because that's different from a player, right? From a player, you get in shape, yeah, you do have some kind of mental that you have to go through, but like for the most part, it's like it's one way. Being a referee and getting to a game is completely different.
It is different, but like I said before, it's a lot of similarities to players as well. So players, they have their warm up, they go through their routine, they go through their rituals, they go through the national anthem, then they go do their warm ups, and they do the tip off. Like there's a lot of things that players do behind closed doors that help them prepare themselves for the game. So it's the same thing as referees. So for us, let's say today I have a game at, let's say, 9 o'clock. Today I would work out, I would go over my rules. I would do some meditation to visualize myself being in those situations, being in that game. I would go over my mechanics. I would just constantly do that throughout the day. And then I would probably do some yoga, some stretching just to get myself loose, get myself ready. Now heading to the game now, same thing. So I would do game breakdown with my partners, and whether I'm crew chief or not, knowing who do we have. So let's say we have Vanier versus Berbeuf, or Vanier or Momo versus a Huntsick. We know those two teams are rivalries. So we would go through each player's tendencies, how sometimes coaches may react depending how we officiate, or how sometimes the coaches might have certain antics that we would want to address early on in the game, or sometimes coaches might be very I won't say volatile, but very maybe to themselves. They're more focused on
abrasive. Yeah.
So just the mental preparation, just getting yourself ready. Each level, whether it's from mini, bantam, midget, juvenile, college, CJEP, there's different levels of mental preparations, I would say. Like obviously for me now, if I go do a bantam game, I'm not as stressed or as I'm losing my train of thought, but if I go to mini, I would be ready. I would feel confident because I know what the situation I'm getting into. Now going to college now, like I still feel confident. I feel confident everywhere I go, but that level of confidence might be not as high compared to other levels, because now I have to get my repetition and the level of respect throughout the community in that league or in that association.
Right.
So it takes time. It takes time to build those.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Talk to me a little bit about there's you guys have to do like a conditioning test, right? When you get to a certain level, right?
Yes. So when we get to Division 1 and up, I actually even Division 2, Division 2 beep test. So beep test is basically, I don't know if you guys done this. You start off, then there's gonna be a sound that goes off saying two. The beep test has started. You have to get to the side before that sound beeps again. Once you get to that side and it beeps, now you come back again.
Yeah.
Faster and faster and faster to the point where you're running a full-on sprint, and I have known guys that have gone up to 110, 115, and it's serious, just to be physically in shape to do that and to consistently do that at a high level. It's pretty remarkable. The mark that we aim for is 86, which is the FIBA standard. Down here in Quebec, 66 is the standard for Division 1, and Division 2 is 55. So personally, 55 and 66, I don't look at those numbers because I'm always aiming for the highest number.
For the highest, yeah. The athlete
want to be held up at. This is the standard I'm going for. So that's just me and how I hold myself accountable. Others, I can't really speak on them, but that's just being ready for that. Even stretching, yoga, freaking meditating, just doing all those little things helps us to be able to be physically in shape. And I think we should take more consideration and a deep dive into that sometimes.
Psychological, in terms of psychological, what do they kind of teach you guys, like when it comes to like to keep yourself ready and how to approach situation? If a coach comes at you and he's like, yo, blah, 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 how do you like?
So what they teach us is just having a calm demeanor, have a poker face. Okay, this coach might be losing his or whatever the case might be, but we need to stay calm. We can't match his level of intensity. We always have to stay mellow. Obviously display a sense of, okay, coach, I hear you, but like we're not going to do this now. If you want to speak, you got to bring the coach back here. So there's certain techniques that they teach us to help minimize this situation before it escalates. Just being ready for that. Don't be surprised if you missed a call. You should be mentally prepared to knowing the coach is going to say something, especially if it's a big call. If we have a big crash in the key, especially at a university level, you should be mentally prepared to have a response back to the coach to say, hey, why did you miss this call? Or why don't we have a call on this play? Or if you have a foul call and it might not have been obvious to everyone, you should be mentally prepared to have a response ready for the coach. So it's just being aware, especially when you know you have certain coaches in this league that have certain tendencies or certain antics about certain plays that you should be ready for. You shouldn't be surprised by anything. So if you're surprised by something, chances are you're going to have a reactionary call, and then you're going to have a reaction from the coach. Compared to if you have a decision call, you looked at the play, you said, yep, that's a foul, and you come out with it, it's going to look a lot more confident and believable to the coaches, and the coaches still might have a question. Coaches still might give you a hard time, but because you look so confident in your call and it's obvious to everyone, maybe the coach might be less emotional towards you, or might still have a question about previous plays or whatever. So it's just always being ready. Don't be surprised by anything. Don't be flustered. And it's easy to say it now, but when you're in the moment, you're like, so that's where breathing comes in. So when you have a call, take a deep breath before you go report, before you go speak to the coach, take a deep breath again. It's always just focus on, I try to focus on my breathing, and that allows me to keep a level. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
That keeps a level of focus throughout the game, so just focus on breathing and whatnot. So that's what I try to do.
Do crowds ever like get to referees like minds? Does it kind of affect like when you're going to I call it a hostile environment? Yes. If I'm going to this team and the home crowd is yelling at you and all that kind of stuff, right? Does it, in some situations, does it kind of like sway? It doesn't, I'm not saying sway the game, but like, is there such thing as home court advantage? No.
To me, that's home court advantage thing. I never really understood it. I come out here to ref a game. If the game so happens to be at this location and that's the whole team, so be it. But doesn't mean you get a certain level of more calls because you have the home team. No, that's not how it works. Do we have a foul on this play? Yes. Do we not have a foul on this play? So no, move on. And it's the same thing for the other team. In terms of going in hostile environments, I just learned to smile. Sometimes audience are not going to like your call. You just got to smile. You have to embrace it in a type of way. Like, you have to just show a level of arrogance to them in terms of like, you know what you're doing. You're confident. You believe in yourself. You believe in your call, and no one's going to shy away from that, So obviously when people in the audience say, ref, you suck, me, I'm just going to smile. Like, take 2 seconds and ask yourself, can you come ref this game? What it took to come ref this game, you know what I mean? And that's what I tell myself. I'm obviously not gonna say it to the parents or the audience, but like for people to start those chants, it's quite funny and almost embarrassing in a sense, because it's like, now you're setting a precedent to your kids to say, yeah, ref, you suck, you don't know what you're doing. Literally, no, if there's no refs, there's no official game.
So
there should be a little respect and homage towards referees. We're always put as the people who come out to cheat the game or this and that. Like, take that away and just look at us as humans. We're doing the exact same thing that as players do. It's just in a different format. We're trying here to better serve the game. So for me, I just crack a smile and keep it moving. Like, it's like water on your back. You just let it rinse off.
True. So talk to me about a crew, right? So like, what are the different roles? Because we talk a lot about basketball teams like point guards, shooting guards, centers, referees. There's a crew. Does everybody have like a specific role? You know what I'm saying? Like, talk to me a bit about that. I don't really.
I will. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So in the beginning of the game, there's crew chief, there's U1, and then there's U2. So a crew chief is that's going to take care of all the administrative stuff. So make sure the shot clock's running smooth, make sure the game clock's running smooth. Maybe if there's a certain play that we need to have a question on, we're going to speak to the crew chief, say what decision you want to make on that. If he or she is going to make the final decision. Sorry, yeah.
For if I'm on the outside, if I'm a parent or if I'm a coach or whatnot, and I'm trying to see who the crew chief is, usually when there's 3 people, that's the person in the middle.
Correct. And the U1 would be on the right and the U2 would be on the left.
Ooh, okay.
So when we go and we break out to go do the tip-off, the U2 would be by the sideline, close to where the crew chief is in the center. And then the U1 would have the hands up to chop in the time.
What is there a reason why U1, U2? Like, is it just in terms of
Um,
levels, or is it just
for
like
me, for
assignments?
me personally, crew chief, I feel like any team that I'm with, any crew I'm with, we're all crew chief. We're all deserve to be where we
Mhm.
are. But when our assigners make the assignments, it's level of experience. So the most experienced official will probably be the crew chief. This person with the second most experience would be the U1, and third, and probably the rookie, you would say, or person who's new onto the panel or new to the league would be our U2. So that's how they kind of break it down in terms of that.
Hmm. I started research. I did a bit of research. So I think I have a bit of knowledge, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more on it.
No
So
problem.
there's a referee, there's a lead official. I don't know if the terms are right. There's a lead official on the baseline,
Correct.
and then there's a trail at half.
Okay, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So is that
Yeah.
interchangeable? So talk a little bit about that, like the lead, the trail, da da da, and like,
Okay, and center. Don't forget about the
yeah,
center.
and the center. You know what I'm saying? So
The
like,
center is the center of the
yeah,
play.
yeah.
So are you asking for what their responsibilities are or
Just
what their
how does that position kind of alternate? Because I'm assuming it's not always the same person.
it's not always the same person, right?
Mhm.
So the trail is coming down. Let's say we're coming down the play. So the trail was once a lead on the baseline, right? So now let's say we have a play going that way. He or she is gonna become the new trail, right? And the person that was the trail officially coming in this transition, and now is gonna be the new lead.
Mhm.
You have the center that's always the center. Now, when it starts to change is when we rotate. I don't know if you notice sometimes referees we rotate in the game.
Sometimes they rotate. Yeah.
So when we rotate, that's when things change. So the lead is still going to become the lead, but now the
Uh-huh.
trail and center, they're going to switch the positions, and that's going to allow us to see different angles. Because normally when the lead is crossing over, it's because they're trying to get on ball side. They're trying to get on strong side, so we could referee the post. And let's say they're trying to do an entry pass, we want to be able to referee that as soon as possible. And the
Right.
center official is the person that's basically officiating that curtain. Like, let's say you divide the court in half.
Yeah.
The weak side, so we're all
In court and
off-ball
half from one sideline to the other, or from the middle of the basket. From the
from
middle of the basket.
the basket, from the middle of the
Middle
basket,
basket split half. Yeah.
imaginary
Yeah.
curtain, you could say,
Yeah.
and basically the center referees all the off-ball stuff. So all the stuff that we don't necessarily see sometimes, like a little hold, a little tug, a little jersey tug or wherever. So that's the job of the center. Now the trail's official job is to look at the ball situation, and sometimes a screening action that might happen. Or if we have a rebounding situation or we have a possible goaltend, the center of the trail will step in and correct the call or wherever the case may be if we have a above the rim play.
Right. Right. That's interesting, because I think like coaches also don't really understand, because like I think it would help a lot of coaches like kind of like address their questions to referees better, because um if ever a plays, if let's say there's a transition going,
Mhm.
right? And then it's a bang bang play, let's say a goaltend,
Mhm.
right? Let's say a goaltend. There's
Yeah.
a referee on the baseline, there's the center, like you said, and then there's the trail. A lot of times they'll just yell at the person that's on the baseline,
Mhm.
but it's not their job. From what I'm understanding, it's not their job to look at if the shot was goaltended or not.
Exactly. From the referee being behind the basket and under the basket, it would be very hard. Like sometimes, obviously, sometimes some special situations, a lead might have the best angle in terms of whether the ball hit the backboard or not before the player pinned it or wherever the case may be.
Mhm.
But it should be really the responsibility of the center and the trail. And it takes time and practice to get your eyes to sequencing those plays, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes when we don't officiate above the rim play a lot of the times, and then we come to a game where we got a whole bunch of high flyers, and then we get surprised with a play and we don't call something, that's gonna trigger the coaches. So it's important
Right.
for us, especially when there's a goaltend, that we take a step in so we can really get a view on that. Or
Mhm.
just be patient to see what the end result is, see what the context is, because not everything's black and white. There's a certain level of gray area that we officiate mostly in, and that we have to come up with concrete calls. So to have a goaltending play, it takes a trained eye to really see whether that's a legal play or not. Whether the ball is coming downwards, if it's on his upwards trajectory, if it's on his downwards trajectory. Did the ball hit the backboard before the player pinned it? Did the player blocked it before it hit the backboard, or vice versa, whatever the case may be? Takes a real well-trained eye to see that.
Yeah. What is so if ever something happens and you want to talk to an official, what is the correct way to do it? When is the best time to do it? Just talk to me a little bit about like so and to add on to this, like, do you guys like it when like coaches, because the way what I learned is that, officials and referees, you guys are people too, right? They love it. They love it when I know their names. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, ref, you know what I'm saying? Like when I could actually like, hey, Max, listen, on that one, like it's having a dialogue and whatnot, right? So what is the proper way to address a ref? And when is the best time to address a ref? And what not to do?
From a coach's standpoint or a player standpoint?
Let's dive into both. Let's have players out first.
Okay, we'll start with players.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the best time to talk to a referee, I would say, is when, let's say, during free throws, because that's where everything's simmered down. We're about to shoot some free throws. We have some time to speak. If you have a quick question, no problem. But if you come off demonstrative and aggressive, and you're telling me how to do my job, you're not gonna get. It's just gonna be. I'm not gonna respond to that, first of all, because there has to be a level of respect. If I'm not speaking to you like that, there should be no reason for you to speak to me like that, So what players shouldn't do is be all Yes, if we're in a professional league, okay, that's a little bit different because players are getting paid to play. So them having more antics, almost a bit more tolerable because everything counts for them.
Yes, every play. Yes.
So we have to have that level of understanding, But if I answered your question and you continue on badgering me, saying this call was wrong, now you're looking into warning territory. And if you continue on after I done giving you a warning, and everyone's seen that I give you the warning, now we're asking for a technical, because now you are crossing the line in terms of you're questioning my integrity. Fire alarm just went off. You're questioning my integrity, and you're questioning whether I know what I'm doing. And once you go on those territories, it's like you're not being respectful no more. And it's not like I'm looking at you saying, do you know what you're doing in the court? Did you miss those 12 layups to pass there? Like I'm not focusing on those things, When I always tell players, listen, I understand you might not agree with the call, but just play. Focus on the next play. Because I had the next play mentality as well as a referee, and I believe every player should have this next play mentality as well. So that's my advice to them. Like, if you're going to come ask me a question, ask me the question. I give you an answer. Whether you agree to the answer or not, you still got to respect it, because you did get an answer. Now, obviously, sometimes referees have a tendency, because our character plays into how we officiate. If you're a shy person, you're going to be more timid and more try to avoid those conversations. You just want to ref the game and get out of there as soon as possible. Me personally, I'm a vocal person. I'm confident. I'm going to have those conversations with you. I feel comfortable enough to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets me in trouble. Sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the situation. But for me, if you want to approach me, talk to me with respect. I'll give you an answer. You may or may not like it, but you will get an answer out of this place. Or I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I missed that play. Or yeah, I got that play wrong. Like, I have no problem owning up if I make a mistake, So, and that's a level of accountability I hold myself to, Obviously, I'm not going to say all game, yeah, I missed that. Yeah, I missed that. But I will, if I do miss an obvious call that I should have gotten right, or I had an incorrect play on this one, I will and a player asks me it, I will let him know, or she know.
Yeah. Coaches when it comes to
coaches. Oh, we love them. No, I think the best time to talk to a referee as a coach is free throws, not during live play. Live play, we're focusing on the game, and you're chirping my ear. That's a distraction. Yes, I understand there's a play that just happened, or whatever the case may be, and you want to answer the right way, but I can't give you answer live play. Because if I turn around this and an elbow happens, I'm not doing my job properly.
Right.
So the best times for us to speak to coaches is after a timeout. You know how coaches want to talk to you before the timeout, after when you're done administering to them? No, we don't, because that timeout is meant for you to talk to your players. Once you're done talking to players and we come and get you out the huddle, then we can talk about the plays that you want to talk about. We're not going to talk about the whole game, coach. is there a particular play that you like to talk about? And
Yeah.
once he says yes, what happened on this one? I will give him an answer on that one. But for the most part, that's the best time to talk to coaches, to talk to referees after a timeout or after the half or at the going into the new quarter. Those are the best opportunities to talk to coaches, not during live play. Free throws, depending, very questionable. Obviously, we have the center. If there's the center official and he's nearby and the coach is trying to get a quick attention, yeah, I'll peep in and hear what the coach has to say, and I'll give a response. But for the most part, my focus is on the game. You
Yeah.
know? So that's my best advice I could give to coaches.
What is the hardest call to make? Like the one that's the most challenging.
Oh, that's a good question. No one's ever asked me that.
What's the hardest one where it's like it's almost like, because I know you guys do film. Like that's the one thing people don't know about officials. I see you guys do film. You guys rewatch. Was I in good position? Did I make the right call? Da da da. What is the one where a lot of times you guys rewatch on film and you're like, yo, I gotta rewatch that. Yo, that was a tough one. Yeah, I missed that one. Or
for me, it's hard to say because sometimes I feel like screening could be so difficult. Sometimes it's like,
right.
Is this guy legitimately setting a screen or is this a legal screen? You know, those are the ones I kind of question myself a little bit. But when I call it, I feel confident. I'm like, yeah, that's a moving screen. No you know what I mean? Or sometimes I would say above the rim play. Sometimes like we're talking about those goaltending situations and just having your eyes sequencing whether it hit the backboard or not. Sometimes that could be a little bit tricky, especially if we're in transition. I think transition plays those are tough ones because your eyes are moving, right? Compared to me standing still and my eyes are just level-headed. Yeah, I think between screening, transition, and above the rim play sometimes could be challenging, but I won't say the hardest thing to ref is those. I would just say, though, for me, I can't speak on for everyone, but those are the things I would try to put my level of attention a little bit higher or focus on those plays a little bit more compared to regular common fouls, you know?
What is the most misunderstood thing about referees? Misunderstood thing.
Misunderstood. You want to give me an example?
Like, what is the most misunderstood? Like, I think a lot of times, like, people think that people just ref to make money, right? Just ref because, yeah, ref, all right, I played, I could do it. You know?
I think that the most misunderstood thing about referees is that we actually most of us love the game. You know what I mean? I just personally I love to I even come to games and I'm not even reffing just to watch whatever level it is. It's just basketball at the end of the day. And I feel like people forget that referees once upon a time were playing, coaching, or doing some type of involvement in basketball, and that's what triggered that love or passion for it. Yes. Is there some referees that do it for the money? Yeah, sure. And that's okay. If that's your focus and that's your mission, all right, cool. But there's other officials like myself and others that are very passionate and can care less about the money. You know, we're more doing about the journey and the passion for it and just being a part of the game at the end of the day. You know, like not everyone gets the opportunity to ref at these certain levels or wherever the case may be. You know, so we kind of take it for granted sometimes. At least I try not to, and I just try to tell myself like, hey, I'm here for a reason. Remind myself here. And you have a purpose, so go out and fulfill it or go find it or for wherever the case may be.
That's amazing. Cory, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I got one final question for you. How now that you are an official, you're looking back at yourself playing. What is one thing you would tell player Cory? What would referee Cory tell player Cory?
Would a referee Cory tell player Cory? I love these questions, man. That's a good question. Stay confident, believe in yourself. Whether no one believes in you, you have to believe in you because no one else is going to believe in you more than yourself. And sometimes we get lost in whether we deserve to be where we are or wherever we think we are at that level that we're at. And sometimes you just gotta remind yourself why you fell in love with basketball in the first place. Just a little reminder, you know, just keep pushing, you know, don't be discouraged whether you're not getting enough minutes. Don't be discouraged whether you're getting bullied up in practice or don't get discouraged about anything. Go out, go play as hard as you can, be confident, believe in yourself, shoot that ball like there's no tomorrow, and be the best person that you can be. Be the best teammate that you can be. And I think now looking back, I wish that I took the time to be a better locker room teammate. I feel like that's kind of an area I kind of lacked in. But looking back, I think those are the advice I would give to younger Cory.
And you're out here changing the culture. You know, you're inspiring people to, you know, use basketball in the path that some of people might not have started thinking about. I'm telling you, it's an inspiration, man. So Cory, where can people find you? You gotta follow this guy's journey, because my guy is gonna go places.
I appreciate that, Oliver. You guys can follow me on Instagram, so Cory_Con. I'm sure you're gonna add it, or you can follow us on membra.org. We have an Instagram page, Membra. Yeah, just if you want to become official, it's never too late to start, no matter what age, size, or whatever, or female, male, just come out and join. We're looking for officials. We need officials. We want the journey of basketball to continue in Basketball Quebec and Basketball Canada as well. So whether you're young, old, does not matter. We're looking for all types of officials. Come out and join us. I think you guys won't regret it. I have loved it ever since. I hope the same for you guys to join.
Cory Connors, we were teammates, and now look at us using the game of basketball to better our lives and just diving into it. My brother, I gotta tell you, I'm really, really, really proud of you. Like, looking at how far you came, you just doing your thing, man. Every time I see you, it's like you get a new stripe. It's like he's at another level every time I see him, you know? So, Cory, listen, future NBA official, you know, just keep doing your thing, man. Good things are going to happen, my guy. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. So, glad we were able to make this happen.
Appreciate that. Have a good day.